Okay, here is the trigram for heaven, 3 masculine lines, a trigram for earth, 3 feminine lines. The feminine lines have a break in the middle. Femininity is receptive, masculinity is creative and not receptive. 2 different modes of being. We need both in the world. But this is inaccurate in the sense that so if you look at this as a model of like heaven and earth, it kind of seems accurate because like if you stand on earth and you look up, you see heaven, but the reality is that heaven is all around us. I could have put heaven on the bottom, but it would have had the same problem. But the curse that is provided to Eve as a result of the consequence of her eating, her and Adam eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and then hiding that from God and blah, 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 is that your husband shall rule over you. So this is not a good state. That the husband, the male lines, ruling over the female. You can imagine if there was anything to vent from this system, it would be blocked and it would cause a big problem, maybe a big fire or something. So, going back to the Old Testament, Samson had long hair. So you can imagine might be a guy with long hair. He was a very strong guy. He became a threat to the authorities around him because he was so powerful on his own. His strength derived from his long hair. He was told never to cut his hair or he'd lose his power. Delilah, his lady friend, was more or less cajoled by patriarchal Philistines into convincing Samson to reveal the strength, the source of his strength, which was his hair. And then she became aware that if his hair got cut, he would be weakened, which is what the authorities wanted. She betrayed him. They came in, they cut his hair. Then he was weak and vulnerable for a while. His hair grew back. He became strong. They were just stupid enough to invite him back into the temple. And when his hair had grown back, he took the whole temple down on their heads. So you can imagine, like, this is a picture of a temple, and he actually put his hand on 2 columns. So he's got long hair now. He puts his hand on 2 columns, and the whole thing comes down. And actually, there's a bunch of people on the roof. It says in the story of Samson, you can look it up. And so you can imagine like a bunch of guys on the roof being toppled down by Samson with his long hair. But the point is that the husband ruling over the woman is a curse. That is the result of a mistake that was made. And as I pointed out, this depiction of heaven over earth is simplistic. If you stand on the earth and look up, you think that's where heaven is, but heaven is actually all around us. It's not. This is not an accurate depiction. I'm going to pause for a moment. So the way to the tree of life in Genesis 3:24 is guarded by a sword flashing back and forth every which way. So there's a couple of different senses in which the long hair can be intended. So if you see that there's the long hair, there's heaven, there's Samson's hair, and then when you cut his hair, when you cut it, it becomes earth. So it's earth and earth. And you now have the hexagram for receptive, like the 12 apostles. It's sensitive masculinity. So the desire by Delilah to cut Samson's hair is on one level the desire for Delilah for a man that can think like a woman. You see the brain is up above. So taking those 3 pure masculine lines and cutting them gives now a receptive man. Now, if you think about the crown of thorns, that's like getting a haircut. It's like a bunch of short hairs on Jesus' head, the crown of thorns. Okay, and also the beheading of John the Baptist in the New Testament was done at the request of a woman at a feast, not dissimilar from the Samson event where the temple is taken down. So you behead John the Baptist, and there's the hole that's left, and you see now you have a receptive male. You have a male who can imagine being a woman, being the person who is penetrated during sexual intercourse, being the person who might get pregnant, being the person who's left with the leftovers, etc. So this is the beheading of John the Baptist, and the crown of thorns, and Samson's hair being cut. Again, crown of thorns are like short hairs. This is all the same aspiration, same idea. So you basically, what you end up with is you have a flaming sword that flashes back and forth every which way. On one level, 3 purely masculine lines with no breaks in them represents insensitivity. So Samson had to have his hair cut and then have it grow back into something different. So Samson started off at pure masculinity, then he got his hair cut and it grew back, and then it becomes long hair and a representation of being able to think like a female. Because long hair, not all females have long hair, and some men have long hair, but it's generally representative of female thinking. Another way to look at it is you could think about Samson as a child being receptive. That long hair, wildness, you would reverse this, long hair and wildness, and then he grows up and the Philistines come along and he learns patriarchy and all sorts of stupid fucking rules, and then he becomes an insensitive retard. So there's 2 ways to look at the Samson, depending upon, because the long hair representing heaven, representing 3 masculine lines, can work either way. But the basic, all of these things, the beheading of John the Baptist at the request of a woman, the crown of thorns. Now remember, Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. So there's again this sense of betrayal by someone being kind of in a womanly role. Judas is in a womanly role. A woman asked for John the Baptist to be beheaded. Delilah asks for Samson's hair to be cut. It's all the same request for men to return to Eden, in the sense of becoming that wild, childlike. Jesus says, become like little children to enter the kingdom of heaven. You become like a child again, become like a boy, in the sense of being curious about the world, being open, learning, not thinking you know everything. And then so when you encounter anyone, you are trying to empathize with their possible experience. What is it like to be, I'm a male, I have this equipment, but what would it be like to have that equipment? Maybe if I thought that way, I'd behave a little differently.